Okay, my name's Zakashi, guys, and in this video here we are going to be doing a tier list for the new release Legends Limited Omega Shenron. Now this is a very surprising release because they dropped this after the Ultra being Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, and they've never done this before. So we've got what, 6 banners in one celebration, one anniversary. That's crazy. It makes me think what we're gonna get in the festival, but we've got to do the top 10. It's been a couple days since the unit released, and I might have some takes that you might agree with, might disagree with. Let me know in the comment section what and why. But yeah, no more talking, let's get straight into this. Gotta shout out the boy Dingy. If you want to do your own tier list, go ahead and follow him on Twitter, DNGEE_YT. The reason I'm redirecting you here is because he's the person that makes the tier list for everybody to use, so I wouldn't be able to do this tier list without him. You can see the link is here, the tier list template. If you want to make your own, press the link in his bio on his Twitter page. And yeah, let's get into the tier list now. Right, cool. So we got the tier list here. We're going to start with the fan service tier, then the honorable mentions. Fan service is really just, you know, characters that people might like, but they're not really going to compete. It's not that they're not good. For example, I think Ultra Vegeta Blue and God Goku can actually be used right now, but they're not competing with the top 10. And the honorable mentions is people that other people might want to have in the top 10. I'm going to respect them for sake, but I don't think these guys would make my top 10. So they're just being mentioned because they are somewhat decent. And that's pretty much it for these tiers. Now we're just going to get from 10 all the way to 1, and I'll be explaining my reasonings why. Alright, so for number 10, we got Rage Shenron. This might be to a lot of people's surprise, especially someone like me. I like to ignore a lot of the time the 1% sparkings. I'm very much a character or a person myself who prefers just the hype things. And that's not because I think the non-hype things will never be good. I just summon for what I like, you know, that's just me. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna disrespect characters that are not exactly hype in my eyes. We got Rage Shenron here at number 10, and I'm going to be calling this guy Reverse 17, Reverse Flash, whatever you want to call him. He's basically how Super 17 was so dominant, because when he hits one tap shot, he's able to stop you from using strikes and blues. In this case, if you tap shot, so it can be a quick attack, tap shot, strike, blast, anything to start a combo, anything to touch him. Actually, even when he enters the battlefield, I believe he destroys blue cards. Anything to touch this guy, he's going to debuff you. It's crazy, and it's based on how the tap shots work. So I believe if it's a quick attack, quick dash, you know, the tap shots or strike arts, he's gonna go give you paralyzed. You're gonna get paralyzed. The first time is 100% rate, every other time is 25%. When it's the blast arts, so I believe it's a blast arts tap shot, he's gonna go type neutral, and that is insane, you know, in terms of being able to survive. And him being yellow, which is a direct counter to the new Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, it's perfect right now, honestly, for a 1% to be one of the best units to withstand the best unit in the game, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, who's just dominating. This is a very well-timed release. Obviously, initially, it was like, bro, why are they going to drop Legend Limited Omega Shenron's banner right after the Ultra? That in itself is bad. But the unit's timing right after UG4 being so dominant and overpowered is really good timing. Whether you have him or not, that is the issue itself. But if you do have him, he's going to be somewhat valuable. He's a good support unit. Run aside GT members, or you can run him inside powerful opponents, even regeneration, I believe, and he's gonna do you some justice. This guy here, do not sleep on him. He also supports the team, and I believe his green card spawns 5 blue cards. So every time you press the green card, you'll get a blue card, and that can happen 5 times. So this guy here, he's not a joke. Like, he might be ugly as hell, but this is Reverse 17. I'm not gonna lie, Reverse Super 17. Gotta give him some respects. If you come up against him, do not underestimate him. You're gonna need a red to take him out. Even then, he can go type neutral because of blast arts. So yeah, watch out for him. Paralyze is crazy on this guy. He's not to be slept on for sure. That's my number 10 pick for this list. Alright, we got our number 9 pick here, and this might be low to some people. This might be a good spot to some people, but we got Legends Limited Omega Shenron, the newest Legends Limited in the game. This guy isn't bad, and is going to be very underrated, especially going forward in the future. That's what I think, unless they just decide to drop another purple insane unit. I think that's unlikely anyways, but he's super good. I think 9 is super perfect for him, and the reason I think he shouldn't be higher than 9 is because he's green. However, even though being green, he has a lot of value right now. In comparison to other units that have dropped, for example, God Goku, he doesn't just get steamrolled. And let's say you could steamroll him, he has indestructible, so he's going to survive just that bit longer. Then on top of that, he's dropped on the banner with the Rage Shenron, who I just spoke about, who's a good support unit and literally counters he's the protection layer for any purples that might want to take out Omega Shenron. So let's say you do catch Omega Shenron lacking, his indestructible kicks in. If you don't catch him lacking, Rage Shenron's ready to back him up as a good support, you know? So it's like the perfect banner scenario, you know? If they drop a red unit, you need a unit to protect that. So if I get a red Legends Limited, they should drop a green 1% sparking to counter the blues. In this case, they dropped a green, what's a green weak to purple, so then they dropped a 1% yellow. They should always do that for all Legends Limiteds, to be honest. That would be a good way to keep the game rolling. You drop a unit, and then you drop a unit to protect them. You know, that would be cool. But they did that perfectly with Omega Shenron, knowing that Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta was obviously in the way. But nonetheless, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is still him, and it's not stopping him that much. It's just enough to stop him at 9, in my opinion. Let me just talk about some other things Ultra Omega does, though. He obviously has the chance to the Paralyze, Bleed, Faint, which is annoying, Poison. This guy here, like, all that stuff is annoying. He has 2 ultimates. If one person's dead, he gets an ultimate from his green card. After 50 timer counts, he goes type neutral. When he gets hit by AoE green, he's going to block it. So just alone as an individual unit, he's able to stay in and actually do a lot of good things alone. But if he wasn't green, he could easily be a lot more high on the list. But the devs probably did that intentionally because they put up like the character, the villain that's going to be weak to the hype character, which is G4. They definitely did that intentionally so that LL Omega could just be weaker than G4. But at the same time, they gave Omega some standing, so I respect them for that. And even Omega making 9 when G4 exists, and Ultimate Gohan, Golden Frieza 2 sprinkle here and there. It's actually kind of crazy if you think about it. So I think 9 is a perfect spot in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think about that. I think he is good. It's just the color argument shafts him too much. But he is somewhat protected. Shout out Rage Shenron. Alright, at number 8, we're going to be doing Ultra Golden Frieza. And Ultra Golden Frieza could easily be 7 once you see who 7 is. But he could also stay at 8. Ultra Golden Frieza, his improvement or decline is based on what units drop in the future, their elements. They don't even have to be on the same team as him. We don't know what's going to drop. And right now, he technically did get an extra partner, but we know Golden Frieza is a melee type unit, while I keep saying Ultra Omega, Legends Limited Omega is a range type unit. So putting them on the same team is not that they can't fit on the same team, but obviously it would be more ideal to put Golden Frieza around melee oriented units. But I think the thing that's keeping Golden Frieza alive more than anything else is his individual value. If he didn't have comeback, which is not revival, so let me explain the difference. I have to keep doing this a lot of cases, because even when I found this out, I was like, whoa. But cool. You know, for example, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, if his ultimate hits a revival unit, they will revive with 70% less health. That doesn't apply to Ultra Golden Frieza because of the small technicality, which is that his comeback is listed as comeback and not revival, even though it's basically the same thing. Plus, he just outputs damage to the enemy when he gets knocked, you know? Outside of that as well, we have Fusing Super Vegito who can rush anybody. And pretty much, even if he doesn't rush anybody, if he takes somebody out that has a revival, Super Vegito, I believe he gets 50% damage inflicted and 2 Dragon Balls. That won't happen when he takes out Golden Frieza because, like I said, the technicality of it being comeback and not revival. Outside of that, Golden Frieza, he's super juiced when he's usually run. He has hella Zenkai buffs, so he's always going to be putting out high output even though it's been months since his release. His green card is also one of the best in the game, in my opinion. It does so many things in one. It gives him Vanish back, he draws cards, he gets Ki, and I'm missing something. Coverno as well. All these insane factors just put into one green card. His kit isn't even superb, but they just made it so efficient that he can just run through people. The comeback as well does a lot of damage, especially to yellow, so it doesn't matter who you are, it's going to punish you. And I think his individual value is keeping him in the list, whereas his team value is low-key on a decline, but you can fit him alongside a lot of powerful opponents. For example, Super Baby 2, Corrupted Zamasu, even the new Rage Shenron is now here. You have the other likes of Kid Buu, even though the team could be diving between ranged and melee type, but he still fits on those teams. It's only that his main team, which would be like Lineage of Evil or Frieza Force, where a couple months ago we literally had Nappa and Vegeta on the list who were actually supporting him very perfectly. Now they're nowhere to be seen, but Golden Frieza's individual value has kept him on the list. So it's more so that he's such a good individual unit that he can be on the list, but everybody that he's surrounded by basically just falls off, which is quite unfortunate you know, for his teammates, but for him himself, it could be that one day it's not worth actually choosing him over somebody else that could be outputting more damage than him. For example, a Ultra Cooler or something we can get in the future, or a new Ultra Freezer we could get. We might get a full power Freezer or something like that from the Namek Saga. But that's just an example for reference for the future. But I think the argument I make for the fact that if you wanted to make a team around him, you could. But it's more so the fact that his individual value is keeping him up above everything else when there's other options as well. You could argue him as 7 once I get into 7, but I think 8 is also a good spot for him. Let me know what you guys think about that. Alright, so at number 7, I've decided to put Legends Limited Super Baby 2. Now, this was a tight one here. Shout out Gage Araga, Super Gage 2. We love you for adapting. Once his gauge fills, you're going to have to rethink your plan of trying to destroy him, because he is not no victim. He's part of the anti-Saiyan coup, meaning that he's going to assist his homies in doing more damage to Saiyans so that any guys that are running the game, such as the Fusion Warriors, are a problem. But I think there's 2 things that he has a lot of value in. His anti-Saiyan capability and his teams. I think those are the things that like prop him up the most. If I was to say a third thing, it's definitely his elements. Him being yellow keeps him just that one step ahead safer than everybody else in the game, pretty much, somewhat. Having the safety against G4 is perfect. Even though G4 can just go type neutral anyways, for somewhat, it's protecting you, you know? He also has his gauge, so that's nice. And I also think because of his teams factor, this guy Super Baby 2 has every tag, bro. He's actually the adaptation king. He's on Saiyans, he's on Regen, he's on Powerful Opponent, he's on GT. He's really everywhere, you know? He's doing damage because to empty his gauge, you need a blue card. I think you can empty it for ultimate as well. And if his gauge is full and you do an ult, it's locking you in. So I think the potential for Super Baby 2 to be high on this list is very, very high. The team argument is really what does me justice to keep him this high, even above Golden Frieza. But there is one thing that I might talk about at the end of the video, because there's always like an evaluation section that I do in these tier list videos now, is that if you can take out Super Gauge 2 before he adapts, and what I mean by that is, if you can take him out before his gauge fills, which you can, it's very easy to one-shot him with G4's ultimate, who goes type neutral. I've seen Corrupted Zamasu do it because he's a Saiyan. Corrupted Zamasu is anti-Saiyan. He can also be run with as Corrupted Zamasu, so he works against himself in a sense. Also, blue cards from Corrupted Zamasu after a green card. You can really work Super Baby 2 if you time it well, you know? If you can take him out before he can fill his gauge, he's fodder. And that's the one downside. If you've seen Jujutsu Kaisen, you know, you open the domain expansion, you just do enough damage before he can adapt. And that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But outside of that, I think he's one of the top tiers in the game when it comes to protecting his team. He's more of a supportive role, but he can easily switch up the gear and provide you offensive capabilities. That's why I like Super Baby 2, Super Gauge 2. Have him at number 7. Might adjust at the end of the list, but for now, I'm going to keep him at 7. So at number 6, we've got Kid Buu. Kid Buu is here, right? And if we're looking at the options available right now, Kid Buu is doing one of the most highest levels of blast damage we have in the game, bro. Highest levels of blast damage. And I don't even know how. He has that capability. He's one of those Zenkais that are shot up. People are comparing him to Corrupted Zamasu, and comparing to Corrupted Zamasu is a big deal because Corrupted Zamasu is also being used with Fusion Warriors, who are basically the best in the game. But let's talk about what Kid Buu has to offer. His green card, he has the Vanish Restore. He's able to have endurance. He has endurance, sorry, he's not able to have, he has endurance, so that can keep him alive. Even though it can be cancelled, that's good. You know, it's still super useful to have nonetheless, especially if you have somebody else who can cancel buffs in the team. I'm also going to get to team section in a bit, so just hold on to that point about him having endurance. He draws a card from his green card. He gets draw speed. He's able to get cover no, I believe, on the first blast card that he does as well. I believe his main, he draws an ultimate. I believe he cancels buffs as well. He's anti-Saiyan as well, so he's going to do extra damage in the game. All of those factors really make what this little kid is so good at. But then let me add the team factors to him. So kind of just how I gassed up Super Baby 2. Let's look at the team factors for Kid Buu. Majin Buu Saga. we've got him on that team, and I really think he's one of those core members to be used. The extra endurance layer, so you can have a team with basically double endurance. You'll be running Ultimate Gohan, this guy here, and then your third would be, it could be between free-to-play 18, Evil Majin Buu, Fusing Super Vegito. And I'm not gonna lie, with Ultimate Gohan cancelling buffs, having this guy here is super good. If you have Evil Majin Buu who's also cancelling buffs, having Kid Buu to have endurance is super good because his endurance won't be taken out, especially in the scenario you're rushed by someone like Fusing Super Vegito, or you're even altered by anybody who has everybody has nullified endurance nowadays on Ultimate, you know. So I think for his team factors, he's on really good teams as well. He doesn't really face any large downsides because he's blue, so there's no real scary greens to threaten him. Like Omega Shenron, Legend Limited Omega Shenron is the best option in my opinion right now as a green, maybe not as an offensive power. We have Evil Majin Buu, and maybe you want to run Ultra Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, wouldn't recommend. God Goku does exist. I will respect God Goku's ultimate, but that's about it. So I think it's more so about like just being wary of the fact that this guy can 3v1 you because of his green card restoring his vanish so easily, him doing high levels of damage with his blast darts, and him being able to extend combos pretty well. He has a lot of like efficient factors for him to just work through as an individual unit, but he can also be a team player, you know, with his endurance being able to keep the team alive. So yeah, shout out Legends Limited Kid Buu. He's one of those good Zenkais that have made a standing. Didn't really expect it, you know. Some people did, some people didn't, because they fumbled a lot of Zenkais, let's not lie. But we've got him at number 6. Might adjust it later as well at the end of the tier list. Right, so we got Ultimate Gohan and Corrupted Zamasu at 4 and 5. And just off the bat, I want to say that I think Ultimate Gohan is better than Corrupted Zamasu. But I feel like there's a strong argument for them either way at this spot, and I will explain why. First of all, let me just talk about Corrupted Zamasu a bit before I go into Ultimate Gohan. So Corrupted Zamasu, he has the green card, which basically gives the timer counts up and he goes type neutral. His blue card, if he hits one, he draws a green card. He's able to get a vanish back every time another enemy comes into the battlefield. He's anti-Saiyan, so he fits with the powerful opponents, but he's also a fusion warrior, so he fits with the top class of the game. Fusing Super Vegito, Fusing Gogeta Blue, Ultra Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, which is absolutely, obviously valuable. Other factors, he's red, so he's not getting threatened that majorly. Maybe by just fusing Super Vegito. Kid Buu as well nowadays, but he also fits on the same team as Kid Buu, so we're not going to value it too much, you know, as a disadvantage. So all of those factors just really make Corrupted Zamasu the dangerous guy that he is, you know. His ultimate can really one-shot you if he ramps up, especially if you're using a specific, if you're using a Saiyan, you know. I've seen him one-shot fusing Super Vegetos, especially if he's type neutral. Boy, he's cooking. He is cooking. But all those factors are really just backed up by the fact that he's on the best team in the game, Fusion Warriors. If he wasn't a Fusion Warrior, I think it would be a completely different story for him. Even though he still is on powerful opponents, we're not going to try to sit here and say powerful opponent is a better team or even equal to Fusion Warriors when UG4, FSZ, and Fusing GB are on that team. They're just so consistent. It's not to say that powerful opponents can't be good, or depending on the user, it can't be better. But in most cases, Fusion Warriors are just so consistent, and it's the team you're running into most. Now, Ultimate Gohan. He's a similar case to Golden Frieza, except I feel like because he cancels buffs, he's also a protective layer for his team. Ultimate Gohan, if you hit him with a blue card, Ultimate Arts, Rising Rush, he's going to cancel the buff effects, meaning that if you nullify endurance, unless you do it permanently, which basically nobody does nowadays, those buffs are going to get cancelled and he's not going to die. So anybody on his team that might have endurance could easily survive that, or he could be that person that takes the hit himself, which is obviously good. But on top of that, Ultimate Gohan has one of the highest outputs in the game. He spawns blue cards out of his arse. He gets vanished back. The switch from the time gauge, I believe, to the attack gauge. He's absolutely just a monster. His element is super good as well. Being purple in this day and age is actually a blessing, because you've literally just taken the stock, the life out of all greens, you know? Ultimate Gohan also fits on 2 teams that are super good, and one of the teams he's not even on, but because of how much value he has as an individual, people are just leader slotting him. I've been seeing people leader slotting Ultimate Gohan on Fusion Warriors, no joke, and he works amazingly. People have just been running him to get the high stocks because of the buff cancellations, and he has that endurance layer, of course, which I didn't even mention. But obviously his main team right now would be Majin Buu Saga, which we have some really good units such as Kid Buu, we've got Fusing Super Vegito, we've got Evil Majin Buu, even Shin. These guys here on Majin Buu Saga have came up from under the rug. Even the free-to-play 18 is not a team to be slept on. And I feel like he's very much carrying that team, but he also can be used as an elite slot unit for other teams, which is why he's actually this high up on the list. His value alone is so high, people are just putting him wherever he wants, and he shoots up the value of the team. And I think that's enough to respect him to have him at 4. So in the same way CMZ, he doesn't directly buff Fusion Warriors through his Z ability. He is a Fusion Warrior as a tag, so that benefits the team. But Ultimate Gohan is just so good as an individual, he can be put on those same teams, and the best team in the game is Fusion Warrior. So it just works. It just works. Someone just reminded me that Corrupted Zamasu has endurance nullification on his main. So that's a good factor to take out the endurance of Ultimate Gohan. But still, that isn't enough in my opinion to just say he's better, because in a lot of cases, people will see that coming. So yeah, 4 and 5, it's very tight in my opinion. Like I said, I think Ultimate Gohan is better, but the team's factor favors Corrupted Zamasu. So let me know what you'd value that way. In my personal opinion, I already showed you I'm going Ultimate Gohan, but these two are both genuinely solid. One of the most fun units, specifically Corrupted Zamasu in my opinion, but Ultimate Gohan, he's so scary when I run into him. He's just going to keep throwing blue cards at me, and he might even just take your Vanish off the main. Didn't even mention that, but yo. Yeah, that's 4 and 5, man. Right, so 2 and 3, we got Fusing Super Vegito and Fusing Gogeta Blue, right? And I think for the next couple months, these two are going to be switching a lot and a lot. Like, I think before Omega dropped, Legend Limited Omega, it was very much, alright, cool, this guy's better, even though this guy's gaining value because G4 dropped. This guy's rush is still practically omnipotent. Only thing that can stop him is like indestructible or like a person that cancels buffs. So even then, you still get a whole life bar out, which is insane, you know? The rush is still guaranteed to go through. That doesn't devalue the rush, it just means that you can't kill someone guaranteed. But this guy here, his Strike Assault is obviously amazing, Gogeta Blue, but he doesn't always kill. He doesn't always do enough damage to take somebody out. So for this meta, I think personally, Fusing Super Vegito is still better. That's what I think. I think Fusing Super Vegito is going to last for years to come. As long as his damage doesn't deplete to 0, he's going to last for years. But I could easily see the argument of somebody saying Omega Shenron dropped, that's a green, and he has Indestructible, which stops Vegito getting the kill. So that means we're going to decrease his value just a bit, especially with them dropping a purple prior, which Gogeta Blue's value completely rises because of. You know, I could see both sides of the argument. I'm not in denial either way. I think both sides could easily be valuable. Vegito as an individual unit is obviously in most people's eyes better than Gogeta. That shouldn't even be a debate. But the meta is almost scripted to be in Gogeta's favor. Even though Fusing Super Vegito's Rising Rush alone can clear everything Gogeta can do, Gogeta is in the position to tackle these purples. Ultimate Gohan, Golden Frieza, we haven't even mentioned number 1, but you know it's going to be G4. You see all of the stars are aligned to make Gogeta that prodigy child, even though he released and wasn't the best. You know, he's still flawed with his Strike Assault. Like I said, it is sometimes inconvenient to start it up. But once it does start up, you can get yourself in a good position, ignore G4's gauge. Even though it might not kill him all the time, it's better than doing no damage and obviously getting countered. But then also you can just cancel all of that out by a Rising Rush. As long as you, for example, if you're fighting a green, you have to get a green on the cover change in the first 3 timer counts of a person cover changes, FSV, Fusing Super Vegito. He goes type neutral, and I think that's obviously a plus. So me personally, I think Vegito is better than Gogeta, and it's going to stay like that for a while. But if you wanted to prop up Gogeta, and I think for the next couple tier lists, unless they just drop the most dominant red in the world, like these guys are just going to keep switching and switching and switching and switching. If they drop like the best red in the world, Vegito goes to the moon, you know? As in way above Gogeta Blue, and Gogeta Blue could even see a decrease to like 5, 6, 7. Not happening right now, but I'm just putting out the argument right there. So yeah, these two can be interchangeable, depends on you. I'm personally going to have Vegito above, but it's up to you either way. I think with 2 and 3, they're clearly interchangeable. That's why it's 2/3. I don't really want to waste time on G4 because he's the best in the game and everybody should be in agreement with it. If you disagree, you are kind of hating. That's all I can say. Everybody's team right now is built around G4, and if you're not building a team around G4, you're building a team to counter him, and that's not even a joke. So how are you going to get around him? Are you going to use G4 to get around him? That'd make it ironic, because it proves that he is that powerful force. Or if you're going to go ahead and try counter him, what are you going to do that, you know? I've seen a couple teams, like I fought a Kid Buu who one-ulted me, which is crazy, but it works. Corrupted Zamasu with the anti-Saiyan meta can one-shot you. Super Baby 2 with his gauge full can one-shot you. Outside of those niche scenarios, because G4 isn't perfect. He doesn't have the best defenses, and that's because he has a counter. Outside of that, he's practically perfect, bro. Explosive green, untouchable counter, neutral ultimate, strongest hitting ultimate in the game. He goes neutral last stand. He heals insanely. He gets Vanish back from his blue cards. You know, he spawns cards easily. He gets cover no. It's just wow. It's just wow, you know. It's actually insane that they release a unit like this, and it makes me think, what are they going to do next year? We have to wait and see. Don't really need to say more about G4. You guys know what he can do. He is the Ultra for the anniversary, and he is the #1 unit in the game. Alright, so I was looking at the list with my stream, and we evaluated it, right? We're evaluating it, and I'm going to mention some things a lot of people mentioned. So the first thing I'm going to start from the bottom is that Vegito Blue, as a fan service tier, he's actually being used if you don't have Fusing Super Vegito and you want to run Fusion Warriors. But it's not that he's amazingly good. He's good enough with his ultimate, and that's about it. And I moved Giblet out of the fan service tier because I only want to have 5. In regards to the honorable mentions, it's not really ordered, but I just swapped Bomb Crew with Super 17. And I think a lot of people have questions about Ultra UI. My point for why he's not in the top 10 is simply because on whatever team you want to run him on, he's not a first round pick, similar to Beast Gohan back in a couple weeks ago. So any team you mention, he's not going to be top 3. I'll go through all of them right now. So if we look at God Key, even with God Key, Corrupted Zamasu is obviously a pick. Gogeta Blue, who's a better yellow, and if you're going to run 2 yellows at the same time, you're making yourself a liability. So your third choice is going to be God Goku, and that's just that. Even Ultra Vegeta Blue is probably a better option, just to put it out there, but you wouldn't want to run 2 yellows on God Key. If we're looking at Son Family, 1, 2, 3, UI Goku doesn't make the team. Also, UI is vulnerable to G4 in this current meta. It's not hate, it's just a simple fact that some units don't fit the meta, and some of you guys need to get over that beyond biases. No, and Universe Rep isn't used at all. Even Saiyans, 1, 2, 3. There's no team UI is a first pick on. So get over that to understand why he's not in the top 10. It's pretty easy to understand. Outside of that, there was like a powerful opponent rift. So like the ordering of these 4 guys. Some people might want to put Omega Shenron up here. Some people might want to put Super Baby 2 and these 2 interchangeable. Some people think CMZ should be down, Ultimate Gohan above. I think it's up to you, really and truly. I don't think like this segment is that deep. I personally just think that G4 is too valuable to move Omega up. And then Super Baby 2 being yellow, if he doesn't get one-shotted, he's easily better than Golden Frieza in my opinion. Especially when you have to fix teams around this guy to make him good. And Kid Buu is really doing good numbers on Majin Buu Saga and Regeneration. Powerful Opponent. Powerful Opponent has 2 teams. So it has the melee type team with Golden Frieza, Super Baby 2, CMZ. But you can also run it ranged now. So you could have Kid Buu, Omega Shenron, and you could also have Rage on. You know, you get the choice. Super 17's there as well. You get the choice. Outside of that, I think most of the top 1 to 5 is fine from the discussion we had. And somebody mentioned possibly having a Shin in the honorable mentions. He would probably just be right there, but I just don't want to have more than 5. Shin can easily make the honorable mentions as well. If I was going to fill it up a bit more, it would. But I think for now, it's pretty much fine. There's a couple nitpicks, but like I think it's okay for the most part. Like you're really nitpicking specifics to really make it how you'd want it, but I think it's fine. I was hearing a lot of like complaints. I just won't stand for trying to fit this guy in top 10. Ultra Gohan also not a top 10 because G4 exists. Like Son Family is existing, but it's not even a team where he's a first round pick for the same reasons. So yeah, yeah, that's the top 10 list. That's the top 10 list. But yeah, man, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Like I said at the start of the video, let me know what you don't like, what you do like, and why. I'm also considering doing a Proud Battle tier list because a lot of values change when you're playing Proud Battle. This is a standard one. So let me know if you'd like to see that. I'll probably do it anyways, but I'm just curious to see who'd actually be interested in that because I know a lot of people are playing that. And just to put it out there, I'm doing a top 5 best teams of the month video, but there's 2 this time. So there's going to be a standard one. You've probably seen it depending on when I upload it. There's going to be a standard one and a Proud Battle one because a lot of people have been begging me for a Proud Battle top 5 best teams. So I'm going to get that out there. But I appreciate you guys for watching the video, man. Press the subscribe button on this grind to 100,000 subscribers. My name's Zakashi, guys, and I will see you guys in the next one, man.